Well, the leadership of Ohanaeze Ndigbo and the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, have denounced the killing of security personnel by unknown armed men in the southeast. President General of the Ohanaeze Ndigbo, Emmanuel Iwanyao, after a meeting with Nnamdi Kanu, who is currently in the custody of the Department of State Services, laments that the senseless killing of security operatives by a gang of criminals should be curbed for good. According to him, the detained IBOP leader who condemned the killings also condemned the sit-at-home directive given by some persons in the southeast. He appeals to President Bola Tinubu for a political solution to Nnamdi Kanu's detention.
IPOB is the only group that wrote against me. Nnamdi Kanu is not with them. And you see, we have got in the East today people telling people not to go work on still at home on Monday. There is no one today. People should not go to school. Even I hear that soldiers have been killed. The truth about it, I discussed with Nnamdi Kanu. He is very sad and very bitter about it. And Igbos are not happy. And he has said it. Nnamdi Kanu sometime last year said it, that he is not part of these people who are forcing Igbos to sit at home.
Did he say it today?
He said it to me again.
Today?
Yes, he said it to me. That is not part of it. He said it to me. And he said it to me today, that he is not part of this question of people going to stop people from taking exam. Igbos value education. Two things that have made Igbos develop. One is education, the other one is business enterprise.
Joining us now is Arise analyst Dr. Sam Amadi. Good to have you on News Now. You heard Chief Emmanuel Iwanyao there. I mean, he's visited with Nnamdi Kanu as he's continued to distance himself, you know, from IPOB. But it does seem that IPOB is now a Frankenstein of some sorts. You know, Hydra-headed. Nobody seems to know who exactly is in control. What do you make of what Chief Iwanyao has said?
First, I think it's a tragedy for anybody to kill soldiers. I mean, so we have to condemn that straightforward. I mean, the country shouldn't, or two things, shouldn't allow soldiers to be easily killed, number one. I'm scandalized by the way our soldiers are taken out, you know, by whether they are terror groups or whether they are bandits. The soldiers should not be victim of this lawlessness. That's number one. Number two is that, like Chief Obayo has said, most Igbos, intellectuals, professionals like us, we stand against sit at home. Sit at home is illogical. Even a public holiday is not a sit at home. So even when we have a public holiday, people go about their businesses. People move our friends. So the notion of lockdown is totally wrong, illogical, and should be resisted. But again, I think the state governors accuse them. They're the ones. This is now a criminal franchise. Nnamdi Kanu has said it several times. IPOB may have started this in the past, but IPOB has now, the real IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu says, have denounced publicly, even more powerful. They have said that's not their brief. The killing of people, those using violence to enforce the order. But again, it means that there's mutation. When you have a social movement that probably some group will become roguish. Yeah. Some group may take violence, some group may not take violence. But the heart of it is the failure of leadership in Nigeria, and particularly in the Southeast now. First, you heard about this threat. If governors spent 100 million to police, if I was a governor, for example, students must go to take the exam. You bust them. We see the example even with the black struggle in America, where the Supreme Court gave a judgment, and the federal police, the National Guard, had to bust students to override the resistance of Southern politicians and the system. So why should we allow? So a group says, don't hold an exam, and governors allowed to happen. That's a defeat. So two things are clear. Even if, I believe that by now, the Southeast governors should have declared May 30 a national holiday of a sort. Do you know why? Because when I was a student at Harvard, I was part of those who went to the Holocaust Museum to give a lecture on genocide. If you go there, you see every name of every person who died in that Holocaust. Children were written. We should memorize the Civil War. It's part of our history. We should defang it from the terror by making it a civil thing. So lectures will be holding. People will be free to move around and talk about how we failed in the past, what we should be doing. Yeah. So this anathemization and this cowardly leadership is what is giving oxygen to this terror and criminals. Declare, yes, it's an event, national event. In fact, interestingly, Vice President Oshibanjo attended a big one that MacArthur organized, or Ford Foundation organized at the Yadua Center. Big event. He made a great speech. This is our history. We should embrace it. We should understand that it happened. So I think that the Southeast governor's failure to be proactive and said, this is like any other day. This is an important day, but not a day of violence, number one. And two, work hard to defeat anybody who brings terror. Look, people are going to take exam and you're setting them back by 1 year. So it doesn't make sense. And it's so silly and criminal.
Dr. Amadi, you said it all. And the thing here is that it is really a backward thinking. And you said, when you said it was illogical. And someone of the status of Emmanuel Nwanyan was saying that, look, I've met with him even again. And categorically he said, I have no hand in this.
You said so.
How do we take this now to the region, knowing full well, and in this case, this clearly does not exclude the federal government,
sure,
because when we talk about security, the federal government can actually weigh in on this. Collectively, Southeast governors and the federal government, how can they help solve the situation? Because it goes beyond May 30. A lot of states in the Southeast, I mean, most of the states in the Southeast don't, they still observe the sit-at-home order.
On Monday, I mean, okay.
On Mondays, yes.
So that's why I blame the Southeast government. They've not done enough. Governor Hope Uzodinma and his colleagues organized the Southeast Economic and Security Summit. I was a chairman of the Regional Integration Subcommittee, and I was secretary of the other major committee. And we wrote the report. It was my office. I was, 4 of us wrote the report. We outlined a structure to deal with this insecurity, from village vigilante up to a central regional platform with technology where you monitor what is going on. We mapped out hotspots, Ugoji, Enugu, where there are kidnapping. What is the difficulty?
So there are non-hotspots?
Yes, where you can actually, but whether it's Fulani herdsmen, which is the reason by which IPOB originally set up the ECN. Let's not forget history. When Umahi was the chairman of the Governors Forum, his own brother, General Umahi, was the chairman of the Security Committee. Umahi frustrated his brother resigned publicly. We asked them, when Omatoko was set up a structure, respond to the then threat of killer herdsmen, which was just the reason why IPOB came in with the ECN, that maybe metamorphosed and degenerated to whatever we have today. So I blame the governors for, up to now, they've done nothing about the report. And so, how can it's really sad. By the way, these criminals, or non-government, whatever you call them, whether it's IPOB or not IPOB, they're not so sophisticated militarily. I saw the video early morning of most of the districts, vacated, no single police officer. In fact, the military moved away. So now there's also a theory that this is like false flag operation. So when you don't have security available, criminals who may themselves be roguish persons who may not even be IPOB take advantage. So the question then is, why is the Southeast Governors Forum not getting to the report and structuring, knowing that they have a fragile security environment, apart from the federal government and the normal police, what have they done to reassure and to create legitimacy and to build communal and village, community-based effort to deal with this threat? What have we done?
But this is not just a Southeast problem. You really cannot, put the blame at the doorstep.
No, the unique one. The Southeast is unique.
A few governors have actually tried. The Enugu governor, for example, he came out, being really frontal to stop the whole idea of sit at home.
So which structure?
No, he did.
No,
but maybe
they have not.
But how can you make this a federal government problem? And why is it that the military, the security forces, are not able to, push back on this IPOB?
2 explanations. One, some people argue that they actually like it to happen. So some people argue that it seems that this is intentional. Well, do you know why I said so? Oti tried to clear out that
that's the governor of Abia State.
Yes, that's Okigwe, okay, where his Southeast has no forests. It's almost like a grassland. How can continuously killer herdsmen keep kidnapping in a particular open place near that Amawasa between Umuahia and Okigwe? And the governor swept in there. The question is, why can't the Nigerian military really come out and take these guys out? Why do we still have herdsmen, killer herdsmen? And why do we still have unknown government? So the first is that there seems to be no serious commitment of the federal government itself to deal with the problem. That's number one. Two, state governors within this constitutional framework are sovereigns. They are sub-sovereign. If you read the constitution very well, there's no excuse. If I was a governor and I tell the federal government, I will set up, there's no exclusion, they can't set up a security outfit. It may not set up a police, but they have a security structure. So why should you plead that the federal government has not acted? Yes, the federal government is complicit, but the state governors have immediate responsibility to even mobilize civic vigilance. We talked about Anyoha, which was the platform says the eye of all. Mobilize the people. Create so that people report and have a dashboard. Monitor what's good. See, you can't solve this problem without focusing on governance and engagement with the community. This problem first started because of lack of trust. People didn't believe the governors. They told them, deal with this crisis. And we're going to Abuja doing political speech because they want to appease the power that be. So that's why Oti said, I can't argue against sit at home. But it's wrong. He should have said, I can't argue against commemorating and remembering May. We should commemorate May 30, but that should not become lockdown. That should be.
Well, I think it's a good thing we're talking about this, and for the first time in a long time, someone has actually put a finger on it. The governors also have a pattern. They must step up to the plate. Dr. Sam Amadi, I'd like to thank you for your time as always. Many thanks for coming on News 9.